Hey guys, I have a little disclaimer. This is probably going to be a long video because I'm going to be sharing my story with you guys. And I just want you to know that I'm absolutely not a public speaker. I'm super nervous right now. And yeah, I'm just going to put it out there. So this is my effort to continue to push myself out of my boundaries and my comfort zone. So I'm going to be trying to be as transparent and raw and real as possible. So I guess I'll start. I did write everything down so I would have it organized and not ramble. So here we go. Please bear with me. So for the last couple of weeks, I have really been doing a lot of self-reflection. And last Thursday was when everything kind of hit me. I was working on my business. I was sitting in my room with all my stuff, my personal development and everything all spread out around me, and drinking my Shakeology. And I looked out of our slider into the fields out behind our house, and I thought that this is how my life should feel. I felt peace wash over me. I felt that very moment should be how I feel every single day for the rest of my life. I also felt a sense of pride come over me because this is what I have been working on for the last year, and it's all starting to come together. So almost a year ago, I made a choice. I had no idea the outcome or what was going to happen, but I knew I needed a change. Not only for my future, but also for the future of my boyfriend Tyler and myself. So I made the choice to become a coach, and I haven't looked back. I've always had absolutely lower than whale shit self-esteem and regard for myself. I always put others first and disregarded my own well-being. I thought that was how I was supposed to feel. I didn't know any different. I also had poor self-image. The girls at school would say, "Oh no, you're just big-boned." I wore baggy clothes to hide my body and a smile to hide my sorrow. I was embarrassed in the locker room and refused to believe any comments, and that's something that I'm still working on today. I felt like I was always under pressure. I was told that I was the thin sister, which put immense pressure on me as well. I felt like I had to meet everybody else's expectations and standards when reality, it was my own perspective that I had to overcome, I guess you could say. I was never really overweight. I have a pretty athletic build and always been in decent shape. But whenever I looked in the mirror, I always saw sadness and failure. My own thoughts were what was distorting my vision. I was looking at myself and thought that's what others saw me as. I withdrew into myself. This is how I thought I was supposed to feel. And to this day, I still struggle with it, but it's a work in progress. This kept building up and finally came to head in January of 2009 during my senior year of college. I was in a long-distance relationship with a Marine, and he was stationed in California. For some reason, I had got this idea in my head that I was in competition with every stereotypical California girl. I had an image of what my boyfriend was surrounded by, and that was temptation. I was terrified that he would find somebody else that was prettier than me, more fit than me, just better. And I became obsessed with my fitness and disregarded my nutrition altogether, and I plummeted into a very deep and dark depression. almost to the point where my friends and coworkers were seriously concerned and almost gave me an intervention. But I could take my pants off without unbuttoning them. So that's progress, right? So everything in my life suffered. My grades suffered, my relationship suffered, and I remember one night I was home alone drinking and thinking about all of my perceived failures, failed relationships, heartbreak, regrets, the loss of one of my grandfathers, which 3 out of 4 years I lost a loved one of college. I thought about disappointment to my family, and particularly my father. And I had a complete sheer panic of what I was going to do after I graduated from college in 3 short months. I became so overwhelmed, and for the first time in my life, I thought about hurting myself. I had a fight with that boyfriend, which compounded the issue, and I remember going into the kitchen and picking up a knife from the silverware drawer and thinking to myself, I wonder how much that's going to hurt if I cut my finger. And then I took it a step farther and I asked myself, what would people do if I was gone? And would anybody care? And would anybody miss me? And at that point, something snapped inside of me, and I dropped the knife and slammed the door shut and called my best friend. And I realized in that moment I needed a change, and I didn't know what that would be. Fortunately, that relationship ended soon after, and it kind of broke my obsession with working out. And I completely went in the opposite direction. I stopped working out altogether. I graduated college and moved to Switzerland to be a nanny, and that was my first exposure to coaching. I kept seeing my old friend from Girl Scouts posts on Facebook. She kept posting about her journey, and I emailed her a few questions about fitness and started my journey on a healthier, more balanced life by practicing Pilates and yoga and walking 2 miles. And it took Amanda a really long time to get back to me. So I kind of had to find my own way at first. I returned to the United States a year later and found that I had an enormous boost of confidence that I had ever felt in my entire life. I felt like I could succeed living. If I could live in a foreign country that I didn't know the language, I could come back to the United States and go anywhere and do anything I wanted. I felt needed by my family. I didn't feel like I needed to run away anymore or that I was a disappointment to them. And that was the first time in my life that I really felt good and proud of myself. And I also felt genuinely happy. I started working as an in-home behavioral therapist and pushed my comfort zone. I met new people and built new relationships. While I was over there, I came back and developed sensitivities to gluten and dairy. So my new boyfriend and I, at the time, really focused on proper nutrition and building healthier habits. And that relationship ended up bringing me down to Massachusetts. And eventually that relationship also failed. But I decided to stay down here. Not long after that, Tyler came into my life, and it's been pretty amazing. So fast forward to a year ago, and I was approached by Amanda again, and it couldn't have been better timing. My job, I was feeling that it wasn't fulfilling me anymore, and I needed another change. So I had been focusing on my yoga practice and wanted to take it to the next level, and thinking about being an instructor. And Amanda offered me a solution, and that was PiYo. And PiYo's the best of both worlds, and I really believe it's my soulmate workout. I had really no idea what I was getting myself into, but I bought a challenge pack and became a coach. And by the end of the first week, I felt the same explosion of confidence I felt when I returned from Switzerland. I felt amazing, and for the first time in my whole life, I wasn't worried about the scale. My soul felt lifted, and the pressure was gone, and I felt rejuvenated. And how could I possibly keep this feeling to myself? So I made another choice and became a PiYo instructor so I could share it with other people. And I felt like it was my priority to spread the love and the passion for fitness. I began learning from Amanda and taking it all in. And in the last few months, I've really pushed myself out of my comfort zone even farther, because this is the first time that I've ever shared my story. During our Hit Nation retreat last October, I basically dumbed down my story because I didn't think it was worth while for anybody else to hear, but that's ridiculous because all of my teammates are supportive and we're in the business of helping other people. So during that retreat, I absolutely fell in love with my teammates, and I tried new workouts. I pushed myself farther, and there's definitely something to be said for live events. It's just an amazing experience, and it's so inspiring. Since then, I've participated in challenges, watched and celebrated my teammates' successes, and have really felt camaraderie and that I've really joined a phenomenal family. And at the first of this year, I began the 21-day fix program, and to really hold myself accountable, I posted daily progress pictures, which was completely out of my comfort zone again. I began running accountability groups, and I'm currently running one right now that's been extremely successful. I'm pushing my boundaries and my perceived limitations, launching myself out of my comfort zone. And this is why I do what I do: to better myself, to encourage and motivate others, to get those "because of you, I didn't give up" messages. And they literally bring tears to my eyes, because I can see the impact that I'm having on other people just by showing up and being consistent every day. And there are so many additional benefits in doing what I do, like losing weight and the incentives and making a few dollars. But the bottom line is really bringing awareness to people that anything is possible. Living debt-free is possible. Connecting to people is possible. Feeling good and loving yourself is possible. And living a stress-free life by your design is possible. Making your life better is possible. Spreading the love and being the change you want to be in the world is possible. It just starts with a simple choice.